All right, well, good afternoon and welcome to the end of day market review for February 16th, 2012. My name is Jason Waugh, one of the trainers and success coaches here with Ideal Trading Lifestyle. I'll be walking us through today's presentation. What we are going to do is bring up our disclaimer, and we're just going to ask that you give it a quick read. Once we've done that, we'll go ahead and get into the agenda. All right. So our agenda, as per usual, is to start off with the daily news. We're just going to see what's happening on a global scale and see how it ends up affecting the North American markets, specifically the U.S. markets. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the market outlook, which is going to include analysis on the S&P 500. When we do this, we'll be looking for the support and resistance levels, as well as the current location of its MACD. We'll go ahead and get into the volatility indicator, where we'll figure out how much fear or volatility is in the current marketplace. There's a few stocks on our current watch list, actually, so we're going to go ahead and play with that, see what we can find for today. Keep in mind, though, that we are going to be doing our analysis on behalf of our basic customers only. We don't want to get into advanced strategies during this call. There was nothing from yesterday, so there's no picks to review there. In fact, the entire week had a pretty poor performance, but that's just because the markets weren't playing nicely. At any rate, we will end it by preparing for tomorrow. Now, what we'll do with this is we'll take all of these little pieces of the puzzle, the news, the outlook, the volatility indicator, etc., and we'll decide what this means for our basic customers, and then we'll also decide what this means for our advanced customers. So we will get an opportunity to just touch the game plan their advanced customers might end up going down. And then question and answers. If anybody has questions along the way, all you need to do is let us know by sending in a message to the chat box or by raising your hand. If you raise your hand or you have a question, they'll be addressed at the end of the presentation, where we'll either unmute your line so you can ask it verbally, or if it's been typed in there, we'll just go ahead and read that. So with this said, let's go ahead and get started. All right. So we've actually just gone to the home page of Yahoo Finance, and we see that, well, things are actually green right across the board. Everything from the S&P 500, which is up 1.1 point, the Dow up 0.96%, the gold and oil both up. Yeah, it wasn't a bad day in the marketplace at all. Now, all of this was because of some optimism in the Greek marketplace. Now, what's interesting with this is the Greece has also been what's been dragging the markets down, and that's been the negative pull, while the positive pull was good, strong U.S. earnings and strong U.S. economy, where we ended up having a very good and profitable January. So it was neat to have this help us as well. It actually pushed us back into some all-time highs and into higher yet. So all in all, a very good day in the marketplace. Let's go ahead and take a look at some technicals here. So here's our trend line. You'll notice that yesterday we drew a trend line which included this little guy right here. It doesn't necessarily hold up anymore because of the breakout that we had today, with it now closing at 13.58. With that, we ended up with a rising bullish MACD again, but it's not quite enough to get the black line back up above the blue line. So we just have a tiny little bit of work to go before that ends up happening. Even half a day, or even a day that's half as good as this, should get that black line back up over the blue. So all in all, very happy with the results here. Moving into the volatility indicator, it worked itself down. Yesterday, it ended up closing at 21.14. It's now down to 19.22. Either way, not terribly concerned with this because we know the indicator is below 30, which is its danger point. Now, we would certainly start being a little bit more cautious or concerned around 25, and it obviously didn't make it anywhere near that either. So again, looking at the volatility indicator, we'll go ahead, we'll look at it on a daily basis, but we have quite a bit of volatility to go before we start being concerned with what we see here. All right, so we're just going back to our basic watch list picks, and we'll go through a few here, see if there's anything that we can identify as a good trade. All right, so C and X. Looking at this guy, we've got a nice white candle, black line over blue, MACD is rising, and volume, a little bit of a decrease. So that's not great news, but it looks like we've got a breakout. On the surface, this looks like a pretty good go. For basic customers that want to take a look at this further, go ahead and look at news, go ahead and look at earnings. See if there's anything that jumps out to you with that. Otherwise, this is a certain possibility. HP, Hewlett-Packard, I believe. No, not HP. Oh, that's H&P, sorry. All right, so here we've got a white candle. We've got a bearish MACD. I'm going to write off right now because it's not meeting market conditions. NYB. All right, New York Community Bank Corp. Definite growth today, definite growth over the last 3 days even, but it is bearish. Now, it's bearish. Black line is over top of the blue line. Volume is flattened. Advanced customers, you might be able to make something out of this. Basic customers, we're just not going to deal with the risk given that it's bearish. And again, it's not that we have a problem trading bearish companies. It's we have trouble trading bearish in a bullish market. We'd like to see that they're meeting market conditions. All right, VVC. So this guy has definitely had growth today. We are looking at a bullish MACD. Black line is just above the blue line. Increase in volume. All in all, that looks pretty good. The breakout here, I would use the cycle high here, but I don't like to use the immediate cycle highs so much if the MACD is bullish and it's just broken from a trend line as it has here. So this one's a negotiable one. All right, going into our NASDAQ, we've got GNTX. Not a fan of this one. Very bearish. Very bearish. ORCL. All right, now this one is certainly an interesting one. Something bad happened to it back in December. It looks like it's been going through and trying to fill that gap. It did a very good job of it. Though it did have some recent pullbacks, it had itself a great day here. It's bullish with a black line below the blue line. So we need crossover with that. volume is up. Advanced customers, this one might be something for you to look at. SLAB. All right, so the last on our list, white candle, rising MACD, black line over the blue, with our increase in volume. It looks like this one's been trading pretty tightly, actually. And I'm going to ignore a couple of those candles that had gone up and say this has probably been its trading range, aside from a little blurb over here. So as you can see, this one's right up against resistance and not really one that we want to look at. So we had a few that showed up here. There'll certainly be more that show up on our watch list in a little bit. So go ahead and take a look at those this evening. Just keep in mind that you want to be making sure that whatever you're trading is meeting or exceeding market conditions. You're looking for earnings reports, and you're definitely keeping an eye on the open news and futures tomorrow morning. Advanced customers, it's the same story for you guys today. Unless, of course, you plan on trading a ETF. You're probably going to want to stay away from the inverse ETFs tomorrow, even if it's got negative news, and going ahead and trading your positive ETFs so long as our open news and futures point towards it. So with that said, I do not see any questions, and it looks like all in all, people are happy and content. So we'll go ahead and end this presentation. So we'll thank you for attending, and we will touch base again tomorrow. Ciao for now.